images are emotional, they're edgy, but most of all they capture unique moments in time. We're going to go beyond the lens with professional photographer Phang here with us this morning. Good to have you on set.
Good morning.
Even more of a pleasure to look at your work. It is so amazing. It stirs things inside you that, you know, I guess this is what photography is really supposed to do. Tell me about the love affair with the art and when.
Well, I started way back in 1980. It didn't start as photography. It actually started as TV production, just like this, and creating TV commercials and radio commercials. From there, it went to working on coordinating film production. And then because of that, I found that there was a need to find all the accessories and equipment. So I went into selling the equipment. And this came about because I missed the creative side. Mm-hmm. So this was a personal side of me that I wanted to go back and explore again.
No, you're about, which is really what photography is about, telling pictures with words. So there's something we're looking at some of your shots on screen, notably all in black and white. Why is that your specialty? Because you shoot in color, but you change the images to black and white.
Right.
Why?
The technique of shooting in color, when you shoot in color, each color represents a tone. Black and white is not only about the black and the white, but the tones in between, which are all the grays.
And the, right.
So all those colors actually represent all the grays. So you have to shoot in color. If you do in straight black and white, you tend to miss a lot of the nuances of what black and white is.
But then, you know, I think the real question is, what is it about black and white? What is it about color? Why it is that you need to change the images from that to something else? Even with the hues and the nuances of a color photo change to black and white, why not just leave it in color? What is it about black and white that speaks to you?
Black and white is timeless. It is a genre that is recognized all over the world. That, well, put it this way, colors tend to distract you. A lot of pictures that are done, they are oversaturated and the colors are it distracts everything about the art for me. Painting's great in black and white, but I mean in color.
In color,
but in black and white, you can't hide stuff. The stories that are
real.
there, it's very, very real.
Well, I'm looking at some of the images you've done. You've done images all over the world, and every image tells a story. I don't know what the story of...
That was a bamboo out in Loidersville. I saw the curves, and they were like almost 70 feet tall.
Yeah.
And I laid down on the ground on my back and I looked up and I kind of just said, whoa, this just goes up to the heavens.
So that means the camera is always with you, Craig? Because wherever the image presents itself, you're going to grab it.
Yes and no. On weekends is where I do this mostly. I wake up early on a Saturday morning or a Sunday and I just drive. Can
we look at the image before this again? I don't know if we can. That old woman. That story is Kenya, correct?
In Kenya, yes. I went on a trip trying to document some of Father Ho Long's work.
Missionaries of the Poor.
And this was in the slums in Kenya. We were walking through and I saw this woman and she was just an incredible look. And she didn't speak any English at all. And we had this little connection between us and she looked at me and I looked back to her and I brought the camera up and one of my favorite images.
But when you look into her eyes, you know, English or no, she's speaking to us, you know. There's something that she's saying. When you look...
A lot of people who look at my work say that they definitely see a connection with the soul in my portraits.
Yeah, well, the eyes are the windows to the soul, they say. Yes. I want to look at some more of them, if we can, Sean. Let's talk about this one.
This one, I was going closer to Flatbridge, and I was in a pickup, and I glanced over on the right side, and I noticed that this was the side of a dam. They call this dam head. And I walked over, and funny enough, the gate was open. I pushed in, I called out to the caretaker, and he motioned for me to come in. When I looked, these guys were climbing up those stairs and just running off of the side. So I sat there watching them for a while, and I just fired away a few frames, and this was, you know, the best of 5 frames when I shot this.
Wow, awesome. Have you ever taken something and when you go and develop it, you're like, wow, this is really good, Craig?
Well, you know, the thing about it is it happens quite a bit for me because, you know, in the sunlight, when you're looking into the camera and you shoot the image, when you look on the LCD, it's very difficult to always see it.
What is a LCD, please?
It's the little screen like on your phone, right?
Yes, of course.
So,
yeah.
Okay. So you get back in and you can really scrutinize what the picture looks like. And,
Yeah.
you know.
Where are we here?
This is just in Harborview. I shot this in, I think, 2010 or 2011. And the rain was just starting to come down and it kind of spoke to me. I love the feeling. I like the older looking stuff. The idea was, when I started to shoot, was try to preserve Jamaica.
Your composition is really astounding. Your your angles, it reminds me of when we were in school and they would teach us about angles and so on. This one, I love the disjointed, kind of lonely. The message to me here is that we are all linked, but not so much. I don't know if...
You're fairly close.
See?
I call this picture Broken Dock. And it represents pretty much what you were saying.
Yeah.
This is what you call a long exposure. This was about 6:30 in the evening. And that misty look comes about because of leaving the exposure open or long enough for the camera to get enough light to make the picture. So the sea would smoothen out.
Wow. All right. There's one more that I want to show you. I love this one too, but we looked at this one, which is also Kenya, when you were on one of the missions with Father Ho Long.
Right.
And the Ministers of the Poor, Ministry of the Poor. But this one is my favorite one. This one makes me want to cry when I look at it, actually.
I have two, actually, funny enough. This is one of the homes here, operated by Father Ho Long with the sisters. And they pretty much help young women who have children and they need help to take care of them during the days while they go back to school or so forth. And sister was just sitting there with this child, and it was, you know...
And it was pouring outside.
Yes, and it was just incredible. I love the long doors and the opening, and she was just right place, right time.
This is a beautiful image. This is a very stirring image. So where do we get your work?
I have actually set up a gallery in Koyaba Gardens in Ocho Rios. An incredible journey, I think, for somebody.
That we can purchase?
Yes, you can purchase.
And for those of us who are closer to Kingston Town?
They would have to get in touch with me and I can show them. What I do is I show them this once they see the sample of the actual print. Because truthfully, black and white does not belong on the screen, does not belong electronically. These are specific papers that I choose and I print my own work.
Okay.
And once they see one and they go to my website,
which is
CraigPangsangPhotography.com.
Okay, and then we can move from there. CraigPangsangPhotography.com. And Phang is P-H-A-N-G.
S-A-N-G.
So don't leave out the H off of Phang. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All the very best. You are obviously very blessed and very gifted. Photographer Craig Pangsang with us on Smile today. Now that we have looked at some modern photos, after the break, Neville and I are going to share... A shame. It's a Photo Friday flashback. You don't want to miss it. Don't.